In this example, we're asked to evaluate each expression using values in a table. And we're still using composition of functions as well. I'm going to pick out 3 of the parts to go through with you in this video. So the first one we're going to look at here is part A. I've just rewritten that here. And when we see this notation f of g of 1, we could rewrite that as f of g of 1, like so. I like this particular notation a little bit better because it tells me an inner and an outer function. So I see here that the inner function is g of 1. So it's just like in the order of operations, it should be the first thing that you evaluate. So next what we have to do is know how to read the table. In the first row, we're given x values. In the second row, we're given f of x values. And in the third row, we're given g of x values. Well, when I'm asked to evaluate g of 1, x is 1. So I first come to the first row and I look for x is 1. Then I go down and I look in the g row to find the corresponding value for g of 1, which equals 0. And so notice that that has been replaced with 0 and also color-coded just to kind of show that substitution. So then we do this again, but this time x is 0. So we look at the x row, we find 0, and then we look at the f of x row and find its corresponding f of 0, which equals 4. So the final answer here is that f of g of 1 equals 4. So up next, I'm choosing to skip to part C because it's just a little bit different. We're asked to calculate here g of f of 2. So the first thing I would recommend is let's rewrite this as g of f of 2, okay, where we know that x equals 2. And again, see how I'm color coding this, and I can also see an inner and an outer function. So the first thing I want to evaluate is f of 2. To do so, I come up here in my chart and I first look for x equals 2, and then I find the corresponding value in the f of x row, which is 0. So I'm going to replace f of 2 with 0. And then the last step to do is find g of 0. So again, I come up here into the chart and I look for 0, and I find the corresponding value for g of 0, which equals 3. So the last one I want to show you is part F. What do you do if you have f of 3, if you're taking a composition of a function with itself? It's still the same steps. So we still have an inner and an outer function. The inner function here being f of 3. And again, think order of operations. It's the first thing you would need to evaluate. So you come over here to the chart. You find x equals 3 because that's what's given. And then you find the corresponding f of x value, which in this case is -2. And that now will be replacing where we had f of 3. Now we write -2. And then the last function that you do is again the f function, and that's okay. So it just tells us that x here is -2. And we look in the f row for the corresponding f of -2 output, which equals 8. I'll just move this over just a little bit